I will never read every book. I will never listen to every song. I won't step foot in every city, but I will live 1,000,000 lives. I'm sorry, I'm probably going to cut that out. What is up, guys? I just read Catcher in the Rye for the second time, and I wanted to talk about it.
Look, just talking.
Now, this book is, imagine a rich kid from the 1950s had Snapchat. He just gets kicked out of school and says, fuck it, I'm gonna go LARP New York, but only on my private story for the real ones to see. So what does he do? He checks his Snap map and goes from spot to spot, running into people he knows and just bouncing around and trying to get a hooker. That's Catcher in the Rye. Is it a banger? I think so. But I posted on TikTok and Substack about it, and it was getting no motion.
Damn, I bet he get all the bitches.
Still no bitches.
Nothing at all. So what I realized is that nobody fucks with Catcher in the Rye. So I was thinking, why? I think Catcher in the Rye, you can relate to it if you A, get no bitches, B, are a chud, 3, are a fucking loser. So that's why I like Catcher in the Rye. But in reality, I think it's a book that makes you think about yourself. Because it's literally a conscious flow from this kid who's just stream of conscious. You know, maybe a little bit of word salad here or there, but really not that much. And he lives through people. And I think that's what scares people when they're reading this. They don't know what's happening or the reasoning this or that happens. Like, it's kind of just like life. It just fucking happens.
Living, man. Livin.
Okay. Did I mean to get that hotel and meet the busboy and accidentally get a hooker? No. Okay, but that freaking happens in the book. And people are like, oh my God, what a pedophile. Why would he do that? Well, it just happened, okay? Life happens. And you know, he jumps from character or from event to event in the sequence that's based around the catalyst of a person. So everything happens through a certain person, which I find unique because I feel like only a loner is able to live through other people, which this guy is. And the other word for a loner is a writer. Writers are the most lonely people in the world because they live in their minds. This guy is a writer. The whole story is the kid writing. And ironically, he has 2 brothers that are both dead. Not really. One of them is actually dead. And he was the GOAT of the family. He was going to be the LeBron James. He was going to be that guy who got drafted by the Celtics but died from doing cocaine the night he got drafted. He's that kid. He's that guy. He's that what if. He's the Johnny Manziel of the family. He's the biggest what if. He had poems on his baseball glove. Like, that's how locked in he was to writing. And he died of cancer. You know, R.I.P. Allie Caulfield. And he has this older brother, D.B. Caulfield, who moved to Hollywood to be a writer. And that's why he's dead. He's dead mentally because he's too good for Hollywood. He shouldn't write for Hollywood. He should write for him frickin' self. He should be a book writer, not a movie writer. That's what Holden thinks. The guy, the Catcher in the Rye. That's Holden, by the way. Crazy name drop in the book, too, towards the end. You gotta see it to believe it. It's like greater than any needle drop you've ever seen in a frickin' movie. And so you see he lives through these people, but those two brothers are dead to him. But they're also the greatest writers he ever met. So it's almost like the shadow that looms over him. You know? It's like that one risky text you sent on Instagram. So you send a bunch of reels to all your friends so it goes down more. So you don't see it on your recent like inbox. But it's still there and it's like haunting over you. That's his siblings to him. Off topic, but the Strokes album just came out and it fucking sucks. I was hoping to stroke it tonight, but Julian Casablanca ruined it. Now it's just void. You know, I put, to make sure to be as performative as possible, I made notes and such. And some of the big things is that he's socially missing, but he's still conscious of the interactions and the events and the people around him. You know, there's this interesting sequence towards the end of the book where he meets up with this older college student. And he just butchers the conversation. Like, he's terrible. He's just asking this older college kid, like, what's his sex life like? Oh my God, you're with an older woman? Wow, what's that like? And the dude's like, dude, shut up. Can we have a normal conversation for once? And he does this because he's insecure. The author, the narrator, the student, the kid, whatever we want to call him, he has to be the smartest person in the room. And in this situation, he admits that the person he's meeting is potentially smarter than him. So during the conversation, he dilutes himself down to like this ignorant, like lustful child, just curious about the cat. And so in that, it allows him to lower the level of the conversation of his opponent. Because if he can dumb down his opponent, in the long term, he can win because he manipulated and becoming dumber. You know, he is acting dumb to make the other person dumb. So by him acting dumb doesn't make him actually dumb. You know, he's like psychoanalyzing and making himself better than the other person. You know, it's like lying on a deeper level. And that's another thing. He's an unreliable author. Throughout the freaking book, you can like see his lies and all the stupid shit he does and like his double standards he has. He goes on a date with a girl he said is like drop dead gorgeous, and he just ruins it because he gets jealous. And he's one of those people where he has commitment issues. And the commitment issues aren't even about relationships, but just environments and situations. Like he can't last in a situation for too long. He's like ADHD, you know. After like an hour or two with this girl, he just turns into a complete dickhead and ruins the night. And then obviously has to get drunk and call her later, like duh, like any real romantic man would. And I think the biggest thing about that is he is romantic. He is romantic about life. Because later in the book, I think it's page 209, 208, because we have to remember, he is writing this. So every quote, we have to take with a grain of salt because he's an unreliable narrator. But he's quoting what other people said to him. And the fact that he quotes it feels like it comes from his heart, you know? He talks about, many men have just been troubling moral and... Okay, let me start over shit. Among other things, you'll find that you're not the first person who was ever confused and frightened and even sickened by human behavior. You're by no means alone on that score. You will be excited and stimulated to know many men have just as troubled morale and spirit, have been troubled. Many men have been just as troubled morally and spiritually as you are right now. Happily, some of them kept records of their troubles. You'll learn from them if you want to. Just as someday, if you have something to offer, someone will learn something from you. It's a beautiful reciprocal arrangement, and it isn't education. It's history, it's poetry. I think that is really one of the standout statements in the film where it's like, okay, wait, I'm fucked up, but I can write about it. And writing about it not only will help me, but it'll help the future. And I think that's the whole struggle of the book, is him admitting that he needs to be a writer. Like, he fails all his classes except for English. Your brother's a writer. Your dad's a lawyer. You're only good at fucking English. What should you do with your life? I don't know. Probably fucking write, you know? And I think there's some other quotes just about life. So they did a quote from this guy, William Steckel. And it's a real quote. He's like one of those Freudian prodigies. The mark of the immature man is that he always wants to die nobly for a cause, while the mark of the mature man is that he wants to live humbly for one. Now, when I read this book in high school, I remember, for some reason, like, there was a big emphasis on the guy dying and the scene about the guy dying. I don't remember why. I refused to do research on this because I wanted to articulate it raw from my brain. Like, no fucking cliff notes, no nothing, no YouTube video essay. This is the fucking, all we're using is here and fucking here. But I remember something about the guy jumping off and dying being important to the book for some reason. And I think it's because of this quote right here. I think the main character saw himself in the guy who jumped off and killed himself and kind of related to it and saw that as an option. But he realized that's not truly himself. That's not truly living. Like, that would be him coping or copying out and letting the school win, letting the school beat him. But by him failing in school and him writing his way, he's actually won. By him living and succeeding as a failure, he's winning in life. And I think that's what scares people about this book, and that's why people don't like it, because it's so simple. It's like 3 days, it takes apart like 3-4 days, and simply him living. And I think he romanticizes 3 days in their life. And I think if you ask the average person, hey, how were your last 3 days? You're not going to be able to romanticize it in the way he does. Now, granted, you know, he's a rich kid in New York, and you know, wow, there's so much more you can do there than in small town USA. Okay, maybe so, maybe not. I think you can do some crazy shit in small town USA as well. Granted, my last 3 days weren't as good as this, weren't as romanticized. But you know what? Maybe if I sat down and wrote about it for 232 pages, maybe I could make a freaking story about my past few days. Like I said at the beginning, it's literally just a Snapchat story. And that's all it is. I think society has gotten to a point where we have dumbed down 3 days, 200 pages worth of words into 5 to 16 pictures and captions on your story. Where people talk about doom scrolling has saturated our minds. I think Snapchat has too, because we use photos to tell a story, which is beautiful in its own way. But it's also, we stop romanticizing life in a way with details and living through the people. And I feel like with Snapchat, we live through the events, through the photos, through what we see. You don't, if you're going on a hike, you don't focus on the picture of the person you're with, you focus on the hike. But I feel like through this story, you focused on the person in front of the hike, and that makes the hike better. And that's what Catcher in the Rye is. It's a story that romanticizes life from the point of view of a loser. And I think we don't like that a loser can romanticize life. Like you're in high school, middle school, when that weird kid had that weird girlfriend and they'd like make out and it made everyone uncomfortable? I think we're all a little bit jealous of that. Or hand up, I'm like, damn, I wish that was me right now. I think that's what Catcher in the Rye is. It's just staring at that loser weirdo couple and be like, damn, low-key wish that was us. Peace.